lovelies. Well, trying this one. Get it in. There it is. All is well. Hello, hello. Come on in. Oh, so glad to see everyone. I'm still trying to get my voice back from yesterday. So anyway, come on in. Let's get busy. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood, even though we have Sahara clouds coming up. Hello, Rami and Denise. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by and hanging out on this lovely NONEDay. How is everyone today? Who here was in yesterday's conference all day with Marla? How to get your house truly in order. Anyone? Anyone there? You were at the conference? Good, Alyssa, good, great. So glad. Who else? I love it. Kathy was there. Yay, I'm so glad you loved it. And Heidi? And Lucy? And Dawn? Hello, hello. Come on in. Denise was there. How did you like the conference? Betsy said it was great. Yay! Hi, Diane. I'm so glad. You know what? It was just, it was such a great afternoon. I mean, a great day, I should say. It was an all-day thing, and the energy was just palpable, you know? And I had to shut down the chat so I wouldn't get distracted and when Marla and I was doing it. But honestly, you could feel it. You know, we could feel it. Marguerite, you were there too. I'm so glad. Sandra, you too. Yay. Thank you, Rami. I'm so glad you liked it. Yay, Heather. Yeah, I know. You already have the tracking number. You should see Mark. He is covered up. It's so great. Dawn, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. It was a delightful day. I mean, I have to say, you know, I almost felt like I could have spoken all day. I had so many notes. And, you know, I think probably we're going to put another one together. We've had a few people already asking if we're going to put another one together. And most likely, we're going to put another one together. But I'm going to say this. For all of you who didn't have a chance to make it, you know, you can still do it. You can still get it. And you can still get the yummy swag bag. As much as I loved your bun, you liked my hair today. Okay, thank you. I mean, I took my hair out of that ponytail because I sleep with it like that. And what can I tell you? It came out, it did come out looking like this. And I was like, why didn't you do this yesterday? It looked terrible yesterday. Anyway, so you can still get it. You just go sign up for it again. That's it. And you can have it forever and ever. And even though you weren't there live, you can still have all the benefits from it. You will have a lot of notes. I'm telling you, there's a lot of good information being thrown out there. You'll be able to see the chat. It'll just be like you were there. I wouldn't know why you wouldn't do it. Go to savingdinner.com/house. All the information is there. Jenny was our moderator yesterday, and was she fabulous or what? She did an amazing job. We were so grateful for her. She held the whole thing together. Jenny was definitely the glue. And Patty was also there, and Patty was helping in the chat. There was a lot of you. Boy, you guys chat. I just loved it. I was like, man, these are my people. They like to talk. Mindy said she took 15 pages of notes. Amen. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all. You know, here's the thing. This is how we connect the dots, y'all. And keep listening to it. Because I kept thinking, well, we got to talk about this, and we got to talk about this, and we got to talk about this. Because there's so much, right? Just watch. There'll be more coming. Yes, Patty was fantastic. So was Jenny. They were both awesome. And you know, this is, you know, speaking of frameworks, this is what holds up us being able to do anything like this, is knowing that our backs are completely covered by people who love you guys as much as we do. So, you know, how can you say no to that, you know? Anyway, you can still get it. Go to savingdinner.com/house. It's all there. And it'll say you have to sign up and you pay your money and you blah, 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 blah. But you will get the immediate download sent to you via email. You'll have all of it. No, I don't know how many we have in the attendance. We had a lot of people. I haven't even checked that yet. Believe me, I went to bed. I was up at 4:30 this morning because my brain was just thinking. I had all of these, I had so many ideas and so many thoughts, and you know, it's just crazy. If you haven't gotten your goodie bag yet, everybody has gotten them. They have been mailed out to everyone. So if you don't have it, check first things first. Where do we go? We check our spam filters. Check the promo tab. Check everywhere in your email first. Then the next thing is to send an email to support@savingdinner.com. Here's the thing, you guys, when you send in support tickets on Facebook, we might not get them till later. And that's just how it is. And sometimes, yeah, they do end up in spam. And a lot of times they end up in spam just simply because it's a big file that's coming your way. So that's always the good place to check, okay? It was in your promotions folder. We'll always drag, if it goes to your promotions folder, drag it over into your primary tab. That tells Gmail it's important. And then that way, every time any communications you get from us, and you're going to want to, because we have all kinds of stuff that we're going to be sharing with you. We have a lot of stuff. So my point is, when you drag it over, you just hold on, press the mouse, pull it over, let go of it, and it will be in the primary the primary tab on Gmail. Isn't that great? Okay. Anyway, we still have some Just Juice Veggies left. Okay, you know the drill. We are encouraging stocking up because this is how it works. Here's the thing that happens to us when we're in the middle, still in the middle of a pandemic. We have supply chain issues, so we get as much in as we can possibly get from our supplier, and when it's gone, we got to wait for the next batch to come in. So, if you are interested in Just Juice Veggies, strong suggestion. Get the 3, we'll throw the 4th one in for you free, and put ships free in the promo code, and it's all yours. We'll send it to you free. And if you were at the conference, there's a code for you, I'm not going to say it, that you get 10% off plus a free shipping. You have that in your email. Please don't share that. That's only for conference goers. And we're processing a lot of orders, people taking good advantage of it, okay? So, yes. This is the supplement of the week, Just Juice Veggies. We have, I don't know, probably, I should check on to see how many we have left. We don't have very many. We have 16 in stock, so first come, first serve. I'm sure we'll be done with them today. But again, like I said, this is what we do. If you are part of the conference, you have your own code. If you don't know what it is, and you don't remember, you can't find your swag bag, send an email to support@savingdinner.com, and we will help you with the swag bag, we'll help you with your code, and we'll make sure you have everything you need, okay? We are happy to help you, but we need to do it through the proper channels. That just makes our life so much easier, and nobody gets skipped over, because it's never our intention to ignore anyone, but if you put it in the wrong place, it's sort of like putting your keys in the refrigerator. Remember Marlo's story? If you were there yesterday, when you can't find your keys, and there they are. Did she tell that story last night, or did she tell it on the conference, or did she tell it last night? I don't remember. We had the most glorious steaks last night, by the way. We had big, gorgeous steaks. We had a bunch of broccoli. We had wine. We had deserved that wine, man. That was some doing. Lots of these went out yesterday too. 200. We have a few left. Mindful mugs. Mindful mug. You get this when you spend $200 in our store. If Just Juice Veggies is in there, you'll also get the ships free coupon. $200 and you get a mindful mug. Hi Vanessa, good to see you. So don't forget, Friday is Q&A, and you can send in some questions, but I'm going to tell you, I already got a few. From our conference, I'm going to take some of those conference questions and answer them this Friday, but feel free to send them in, support@savingdinner.com, and in the subject line, put question for Leanne on Friday, and it will get dropped into my little Airtable where I get all my questions. And I think, too, Jenny puts a thing out, too, for it. I think I forgot maybe I didn't. I think I did. I do. Here it is. New quote of the week. Are you ready? Maggie wants Pinkies Up mug. Oh my goodness, maybe that'll be the next round. It's almost time to order some new ones. I have to get some Pinkies Up, don't I? Pinkies Up. Maybe what I'll do is Mindful Mug, Pinkies Up. What do you think? The Mindful Mug and the Pinkies Up cup. Oh, Leanne, you're on a roll. Everybody, welcome to my brain. This is when I go crazy. Oh, metal, Pinkies Up metal water bottles. Well, that'd be great too, but you know, that's Marla's thing. Marla has the water bottles. She's got great ones. By the way, the aqua blue ones, get the navy's cute, but the aqua blue, those will blow you away. They're beautiful. The color is incredible. I want a t-shirt that says Pinkies Up, you know, because nobody will know what it says. What about a t-shirt? You know what, I'll tell you what, in September, if you're coming to, in September, when we do our live event, the Full Bloom event, live here in Brevard, Lord willing, that we're all going to be able to travel, right? It's still kind of up in the air. If everything is copacetic and we're going to do it, I'm going to do Pinkies Up t-shirts for all of us. Pinkies Up. And they'll be pink with white lettering with little pinkies. What do you think? I think that's so cute. We have a new quote of the week. It's Harvey McKay. He's brilliant. If you're persistent, you will get it. If you're consistent, you will keep it. Keep it. This is my new motto because you know what? I can be the most persistent, resilient person in the entire universe. Where I falter is in my humanness is consistency. Consistency will knock you on your keister every time. This is why we have this. This is why. You know, when we have quotes like this, these are quotes that we can put in our journal. These are quotes we can put on a 3x5 card, put them everywhere. We can think about these things because so many times we're just mindlessly going through our day. What if instead of just being mindless, we start thinking about persistence, I'll get it, consistency, I'll keep it. We start thinking in those terms. Watch how our actions follow suit. That's a good one. And this is good too, by the way. This Just Juice Veggies, if you don't know what it is, it's basically one scoop will give you 7 to 9 servings of fruit and vegetables. If you've got kids that are picky, you need to have this for them because they'll drink it. It's pretty tasty. What I'm drinking right now is hot milk mix because I always have people asking me. I drink hot milk mix right now until 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I have tea. I have this whole hydration schedule. Crazy, right? Look at Jennifer already put it in her journal. I'm so proud of you, Jennifer. Yes, get that in your journal. This is the stuff. This is how we change the way we think. Because we put quotes in front of us that are inspirational. And we think about things, we read things, we watch this broadcast, and we get a body clutter buddy, and we start moving the needle in our lives. We decide what we don't want anymore, and then we look to what if, how do I create, how am I going to get the thing that I really do want? If we spend a lot of time complaining about it, we're not going to get it. But if we spend some time on it and actually doing the things to get the things that we want, consistently, you know what happens. Am I right? Of course I am. I don't need you to agree with me. I'm going to agree with me. Oh my goodness. And the other thing that I want to let you know is at the end of June, our pandemic pricing is going away for Dinner Answers. That's right. Right now, Dinner Answers is $7 a month, which is a screaming deal. And Dinner Answers, basically, however it is that you eat, we give you a dinner plan every week. You have access to our menu planning system. You can change out your recipes, edit them to make it exactly what your family needs. You can customize it however you want. You know what? It's going up to $10, $3, right? But if you want it, now's the time to get it because it's changing. So good. Vanessa said she increased my hydration intake as of yesterday. And don't forget, part of the hydration thing is fiber and electrolytes. That is huge. I told you this, I'm still working on the book. I'm almost there. I've got 2.5 chapters left to finish up my part, and then it's going to Marla. Well, let me just tell you about this. Hydration, you know, you think you know everything and you just, as long as your pee is clear and this, that, and the other thing. No, that hydration needs to get into the cells. And it doesn't necessarily get into the cells unless we're doing the things that we need to be doing. Fiber, electrolytes. So every single day, guys, get on it. Hot Melt Mix to the rescue. We have that in the shop. And high suggestion that you get it. If you're part of the conference, don't forget to use your code. You know what the code is. It's in your email. Okay, let's get busy. Huh? One of the things that I saw, I went through today, Jenny sent me all the chat dialogue. So, I mean, I'm only 1.5 way through. I mean, there's a lot there. You guys were chatty yesterday. It was so great. And I loved every bit of it. And I wanted to jump in and make a comment because it looked like so much fun. But, you know, I'm reading it after the fact. And we didn't see any of it yesterday. A lot of tech stuff, you know, it's blurry, it's black, I can't hear, it's what do I do? This, that, and the other thing. So I hope everybody, you know, one of the things I'm going to do for the next one is put together a tutorial on how to use Crowdcast, the app. There's also an app for Crowdcast, which I understand makes it a little bit easier, etc. So there's all of that. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. We have, oh, thank you. Excuse me. We have Sahara winds and dust out there, and I think it's getting me. Anyway, so there was a lot of chatting going on, and one of the words that I kept seeing pop up was the word overwhelmed. Overwhelmed here, overwhelmed there, and I just thought, you know, what is it about being overwhelmed? And you know, thank you very much, Vanessa, I appreciate that. And you know what the thing happens? You know what happens with us? We get into this place of, we have a habit of saying things that maybe we should just dump out of our vocabulary. Because I wonder if it's part of that whole reticular activating system. If we consistently say, I am overwhelmed, then your brain is looking for being overwhelmed and helps you to pile on. We get what we attract in the things that we are constantly saying. That becomes our norm. That becomes our world. I am overwhelmed. I am so angry. I am so mad. I am so bitter. Or I hate this person. I hate this and I hate that. And suddenly, all of a sudden, we're starting to feel really bad. You know, how we feel is an indicator of how our lives are really going to go. And this is one of the reasons why I want to pump you up and get you excited about your lives and get you out the door and ready to change the universe. And find your purpose and be the person who lights up the room when they walk in. Not the doom and gloom Betty, not the person who's just like, oh, here she comes. You know, it's like Eeyore with a cloud over constantly and it's raining. We don't want to be that way. So I think oftentimes, yes, it's what goes on in between our ears, and it's also a lot of what's coming out of our mouths. I am overwhelmed. Typing, I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. I saw a lot of that. So what is it? The dictionary says that it's drowning, being buried, too much of everything. And we, listen, I'm not dismissing or saying you're not overwhelmed, but I'm wondering if we just fall to that as just a quick, like, what's going on? I'm overwhelmed. How are you? I'm overwhelmed. I'm wondering if that's part of our, maybe just our quick knee-jerk, this is how we describe our lives because we're busy. Are we overwhelmed or are we just inordinately busy? Well, I'm going to give you about, I'm looking at about 15 things here on what you can do to stop this habit of saying that you're overwhelmed, and indeed get out of the shadow of overwhelm, okay? Because, you know, there's always going to be an exception where somebody's just really got it piled on. And I'm not trying to dismiss or minimize anybody's life and say that, well, you just don't count. What I'm saying, though, for most of us, saying I am overwhelmed is just a bad habit. I'm just going to put it out there. It's a bad habit. Because if we remember, we want to be saying those things and thinking the things that we want to attract in. The reticular activating system is always going to be looking for evidence to support the way you think and the things that you say. Always. That's just the way it works. That's how your brain operates, and that's your filtration system. That's what you're going to be looking for. Just like when you decide that you're going to buy a blue Prius, suddenly there's blue Priuses all over the road. Were they there before? 100%. The only reason that you didn't see them before is that you just weren't activated to see them before. You didn't have that filter up before. Anyway, so what is overwhelm? We know what it is. We know it's feeling like you're drowning, feeling like you're buried, just too much of too many things. And a Bible verse came to me about this. This is part of the reason why I woke up. And the thing that came to me is from Psalm 121:1, I will lift my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? From where does my help come? Because when we feel overwhelmed, where can we take that burden? You know, who's going to take it for us? We don't have somebody usually on this earth who's just going to come over to our house and say, open their hands and say, here, just give me what it is that you want to give me. It usually doesn't work that way. What usually happens is that we just have this whole, it's all about us. We're just a one-man show doing the best that we can with what we've got, etc. You know the drill. What I'm trying to say to you is that I believe that when we look to the hills and we look up, we lift our eyes to the hills, we look up and we put our burdens on the Lord and we just say, you know, this is just hard. I've got a lot going on here. You don't think He already knows? It's simply an acknowledgement of His greatness, His vast abundance, His ability to handle all of your cares. And it's keeping your eyes focused on where the important part is, you know? Because He doesn't want us to feel lost and abandoned and alone. This is why He gives us the communities that we have in our families. But He also wants us to be looking to Him. It gives Him deep pleasure for us to commune with Him. He's the Father. You're the daughter. We get to sit on Daddy's lap. And if you are anything like me, you know, and you grew up in a home where you didn't have that kind of relationship with your dad, what a beautiful invitation. So, I will lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? Where does your help come from? Ask yourself this. And you know what? Write that down. Psalm 121:1. I want you to write down today's quote too. Write those things down. Allow these things to be what you think about. When we think about the things that are true and real and positive and beautiful and expansive, there it is. Your life changes right there and there. So this is the starting place right here. It always has to be the starting place because our relationship with God, without that soul connection, we can't get to the rest of our stuff. We're you know, in pain. We have to connect mind, body, and soul. And our soul work that we have to do is connecting with God. We cannot forget that. So what else do we have to do? I got, 14 things. I can't read my own writing. I've got 14 things. One of the things is you gotta find the exact source. What is the thing that is making you feel overwhelmed? Now, I was a mother, I still am a mother, but my children, my daughter's 30 and my son is 28, you know? So my children are quite grown. Been out of the house for a long time. I have a daughter, my daughter is married. I'm 62 years old, of course. I mean, this is what happens. Your children get married and they grow up and they move on. That's part of it. But let me just tell you something. When I was in the midst of it, my children are 21 months apart. I had double car seats, a double stroller, a diaper bag packed to overflowing. And I was also dealing with an alcoholic husband. That was really fun. And a bunch of crazy stuff in my life. My mother had gotten cancer at that point, so we had to deal with that. There was a lot going on. I remember the feeling of just, now what? Overwhelmed. My ex-husband now, right? So he kept losing job after job after job. So there was job, money insecurity. There was 2 little kids that had to be dealt with, and not just dealt with, but raised and loved and spent time with. This is how children know that you love them. When we put them off and don't read them the stories, Marla talked about that yesterday. That was so good. When we get to the, when we are in that place and when we see how, brushed aside children are, because they are a lot and we don't have time for them, and it's just everything else, because everything else in your life is overwhelming. You remember that song Cats in the Cradle? If you don't know the song, go play it on YouTube after the show and do it with the lyrics. It'll make you bawl your eyes out. And that's what happens. Your children somehow get raised on their own or just with barely any kind of guidance, and you don't have a whole lot of input, and it's as overwhelming as parenting can be. You have help on that, and if you're smart, you're reaching out to your community and you're starting to figure things out. This is why figuring out how to handle your home and how to handle your relationships and connecting up with the right people is critical and so important, because that's how we lift the burden of being overwhelmed. So find the source, and you'll know what it is. I mean, you should know what it is. And I've got something down here, which I'm going to jump to, is boundaries. Is the first one. I've got it down as number 12, but I'm going to jump to it because I think that's as important. You got to lay down the boundaries. You know that, right? You knew I was going to say that, right? You don't have any boundaries, and people can just take advantage of you, and they call you up and you volunteer, and they call you up and you are like, we'll just give it to Jane over here because she'll do it. She'll do anything. Remember that cereal commercial? Give it to Mikey. He'll eat it. He'll eat anything. Well, you're Mikey. If somebody feels like, give it to her, she'll do it, Which in one hand is saying, we can trust her because she'll do a good job. But on the other hand, it's taking advantage of you. And really, there you are with your happy, smiley face. Sure, I'll do it. And you hang up the phone and you think, what have I just done? If that sounds familiar, write that down and deal with that. Boundaries are important. This is what gives us, this is property owners do this. They put up fences around their property, right? Boundaries are for everyone. Everyone needs a boundary. Your child needs a boundary. You need boundaries. And your time needs to have boundaries. You have to do this. If you don't, everything is out of control. And down the hill it goes. And you become expendable at someone else's expense. At your own expense, rather. No, it's not you anymore, Denise. I'm calling you out on it. You're not doing this anymore, are you? Show me your pinkies, honey. If you've decided this is no more of that, you've got boundaries, you're going to put boundaries up today. I'm not talking about tomorrow, ladies. I'm not saying, yeah, well, maybe for, whatever. No, that's a good idea. I'm talking about actively doing something with what I just said, and I want to see some pinkies right now. Put them up. We're not doing this anymore. We're not giving away our boundaries. We're not putting our fences down. We are going to put up some boundaries because your life is important. You count. And the quality of your life is dependent on you putting up a boundary and saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Your no's are going to feel so good. So good. And I want you to, when you say no, I want you to just grin from ear to ear because, hey, we're still in this social distancing thing. And when you're on the phone and you're talking, you say, can you do that? No. No, and smile and mean it. Boundaries. Everyone. Boundaries. There they are. Those are lots of pinkies. I know who you girls are. The next thing is you gotta meditate. You gotta pray. And you gotta find something, some kind of a mantra, whether it's a quote of the week, whether it's a Bible study, a Bible verse or something, whatever it is that's gonna just resonate in your heart. You'll know it when you hear it. That's how I decide, I look for things all the time and I'm reading books and quotes pop out at me. It resonates with me. And I feel like if it resonates with me, someone else is going to say, that was great, this resonates with me. When it resonates, that means to me that the energy inside of you is changing and it's expanding your beautiful self. It's helping you to grow and become a better person. It's giving you new ideas to put into your life so that your life isn't just like, you know, going through the motions day after day. Instead, you're vibrant. You're jumping in. You've got everything going, and life becomes pretty juicy and delicious, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Because now you're thinking differently. Now you're not in this whole, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And you know that thing inside when you do that? I gotta do, the I gotta do's. It's tragic. And this is not what we want in our lives. We don't want tragic. We want vibrant. We want yummy. We want delicious. We want to spring out of bed and every morning say, it's gonna be a great day. Maggie, you're gonna start loving yourself like this. And it might have been a long of years, but on my watch, nobody's allowed. You've got pinkies. You're gonna get the t-shirt. Come on, come along. This is what we do. Nobody gets left behind on my watch. We are gonna be amazing. Amazing, right? We become amazing by the things that we think about. What you focus on expands. So I want you to put this down in your journal on a 3x5 card and remember this every single day. It's not an overnight thing. It is not an overnight thing, but I will tell you, the more you do, the more you will get. And this consistency is the thing that's going to pay off. This consistency is what's going to be bringing it all in. And then the other thing is, one of the things that we do in my little town here, we have body clutter buddies. And I'll tell you what, is that not great having a body clutter buddy? Because we get our bigger community. We have that here. We have that in the sprint. We have our bigger communities. But when you have a body clutter buddy, you can just say, you know, this is the place of struggle for me. Can you help me out? You've been praying about that for me? What do you think? Because forest through the trees, somebody's got to see something. I can't even tell you how many times Marla said, blah, 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 do this. And like about a business problem that I was having or whatever. And I was just like, the last one, she blew me away. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. I'll just tell you, we have you saw my nice house yesterday if you were in the conference. We have a huge basement downstairs. And downstairs there's a kitchen and lots of storage and everything. And it used to be, because she used to make chocolate in there. She had a chocolate making company. And all the refrigerator and the freezer and everything. I mean, just like made for me, right? So Marla said, Mark should do your distribution. Because I was like, I'm getting nailed on the distribution. She goes, Mark should do it. He's got the time and you've got the space. Look at all of this. And we do have the space. We've got shelves lined with you just would not believe what we have here. And it's right here. We're doing it. And that was just the most brilliant thing. Now I can control it. I mean, it's not some third party doing it. It's on me. It goes out. And you guys know, you order my supplements, that you order it, you get it. The only time that doesn't happen is if we get a supply chain issue, which is another thing entirely. But we get the stuff out, and way less mistakes. Every once in a while, Mark makes a mistake, but he's a human being and he does a fabulous job. And I'm so happy that he's doing it for us. The other thing is do some self-care. Take a bath. Go get an Epsom salt bath. Throw a little lavender in it. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Do some breath work. Calm this business down. Overwhelmed, oftentimes, is a choice, isn't it? It's a choice because your boundaries haven't been up. It's a choice because you haven't been doing your self-care. It's a choice because you haven't asked your husband for help. It's a choice because you've taken on all these projects. You have the right to say no, and you also have the right to take care of yourself. And you also have the humble heart, I hope, to say, I need help. Because if you need help, there's someone there who will help you. You have to ask, though. You can't expect your mind to be read. The other thing is, let's get your gratitude up. And especially, a lot of you have the Take Back Your Life journal. This is it right here. Notice mine has the gold stars with it. That's your Take Back Your Life journal. If you don't have that, if you were in the conference, you've got the PDF for it, which is great because you can print out as many as you want. Look at what the first thing says. 3 things I'm thankful for today. Because when we frame our days and start our day with gratitude, this grows our beautiful self. This puts into our lives all the things that we want. We start to see things from a different perspective, because this is the one time that I will tell you to compare. Excuse me. When you start thinking, things are just woefully sad, oh, poor me, blah, 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 and you start thinking about gratitude, I want you to start thinking about gratitude right down to the granular level. Like, you just get up. I just slept in a really comfy bed. I just, I had a ceiling fan on all night and I stayed nice and cool. I'm putting my feet into these glorious slippers. I'm going to walk into my bathroom where there's running water. And I want you to think about people, most of the people in the world that don't have any of that. Think about that. Start comparing yourself to the people who don't have anything, and start thinking about all the things that you have. Those are the only times I'm ever going to say compare. But if you start comparing yourself with your neighbor, Betty Ann, what's her name, down the road here, who's got the nice swanky car and perfect children, manicured lawn, and her house is never a mess, and she's got the cute little jeans on all the time. You start comparing with her, I guarantee that you're going to look at your life and say, it's miserable, it's awful, and I'm overwhelmed. It's never going to work that way. I will lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? It comes from God himself. That's where your help comes from. And when you stop comparing yourself to others who seemingly have all the things, you will stop having your joy robbed from you. You got that? That's an important thing. I spent my entire time with my children when they were little comparing myself to everyone. To everyone. And it sucked the joy right out of my life. It sucked it all out. All I could see was the sad parts. And I had some really fantastic times, even with the dysfunctional marriage, even with all the crazy town stuff going in there, all of it. But I still had a beautiful life. I had these amazing kids. I got to homeschool them. We got to do all these cool things together. But I didn't focus on that. I compared myself to all these other women who were doing it perfectly. And I'm telling you what, that is the worst thing that you can do. It will not only rob you of your joy, it'll rob you of your time. And the next thing you know, you're going to be looking around and you're going to say, you know what? Your children are grown. They're grown. There's nowhere to compare to. Now you're just alone. Yeah, and then you start comparing yourself to how successful are they as they grow up. I finally dropped that. I'm going to say probably, let's see, my kid 30, my daughter, right around when my daughter was 24, I said no more, no more. I was also a single parent in a Christian community, and let me just tell you, I was judged. I was judged a lot, and I'm telling you, that's not what Jesus does, I was alone. It was a very lonely time for me, and it wasn't joyful. It was kind of a frightening, scary time. And being alone like that, I had to do a lot of things on my own. You need to choose your community very carefully, because you need a community that's going to come alongside, that's going to hold you up, that's going to support you, and that's going to encourage you. Because if you don't have that, it's no good. That's a form of overwhelm right there. And it doesn't need to be that way. You just need to flip your friends. Sorry, but that's the way it is. You need to flip them out. And you need to go find somebody that's going to support you on the journey that you're on. You're worth having those kind of people in your life. Because when you open up your email, I want you to see something that says, hey, you're pretty wonderful and you're pretty great. And good for you, single mom. Look at you go. That's a really important part of it. Start with your gratitude, though. Get your gratitude going. And tandem that with a new perspective, for heaven's sakes, because your new perspective at any time is something that you can just flip the switch on and just say, you know what, here's how I'm going to look at these things from now on. Here's how I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take one thing at a time. I'm going to take the things that I absolutely need to get done, and then the rest of it, even if I disappoint someone, I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to call that woman up, and I'm going to just say, you know what, I just can't do that. I over-volunteered, and you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I can't do that anymore. For my sanity's sake, you know, and I know you value me, and therefore we're going to be okay with me doing this, but I need to say no. You know, sometimes when you break a promise, at least don't hang somebody out to dry, but let them know early, you know, this is just not working, and it's costing you in your sanity, with your family, with your time, with everything. But if you have, just think about this for a minute. If it's costing you this much and you're not willing to have this confrontational meeting because you don't want to break your promise to this one person, you've already broken your promise to your kids, to your family, to your home, to yourself. You've broken those promises. So then we're going to move to the other side and say, no more of that. What we're going to do instead is say, I can't do this. You got that? I'm going to tell you why. This is an important thing, because when we have the guts to do the things that are hard to do, then we have the guts to move to the next thing. We cannot move to the next thing if we're too afraid to confront the thing that's actually causing us the problems and the damage. So the last thing I'm going to say is, and you know this one, perfectionism is oftentimes shrouded in, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it right, so don't do it at all. Perfectionism means paralysis for most of us. We just can't get past the first thing. So what I would say to you is this. If you recognize that you are suffering from perfectionism, and as a former perfectionist, I can certainly tell you I understand, but I also know this, and it just as with God as my witness, you know, to quote Scarlett O'Hara, this is the truth, that perfect will never be found on this side of glory, ever. I say that all the time because I want you to see the contrast. We are here in this imperfect world with other imperfect humans doing the very best that we can. When we pile it on ourselves because we haven't learned the art of the word no, when we pile it on and we haven't learned the art of asking for help, then we're going to have these awful feelings of being overwhelmed. But we can look to the hills, we can lift our eyes to the hills, and we can know where our help comes from. That's starter. Absolute base place that we have to start. And from there, we gotta start going through, how do I fix this? Because when you have a mindset that's, I'm gonna fix this, I'm not gonna let this go, I'm not gonna have this just blow up in my life. When you have that mindset and you decide that you're gonna go after a solution instead of complain about a problem, then you're gonna find the solutions, just like you would find the blue Prius that you're looking for, because the solution is out there and it is looking for you as well. Let's bring it on in, you know? Let's bring it on in. That's all I have for you. That's enough, right? But this whole thing about overwhelm, let's just think about those words. Our words are meaningful. They have an impact on our life. They have an impact on the way we feel about ourselves. When we feel good about ourselves and we start to see things in a positive way and start to gather in the positive people and dwell on the right things, what we think about expands. I'm not going to live any other way. And don't forget this, ever, that when you compare yourself to someone else who you think has it all together, trust me, they do not. They do not. They're suffering as much as you are. So drop it. Drop it, because it will steal your joy, it will steal your time, and it will rob you of the time that you have with your children right now. Ask someone who knows. That's me. Guilty. Totally guilty. If I could go back, turn back time and do it again, that's the one thing that I would fix. Because I'm telling you, my children were beautiful and wonderful and so delightful. But I spent a lot of time inside of myself going, I just don't compare to these other women. And you know what? That is not the truth. That is not from God. So there. All right, you guys, I really love you and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for showing up and sharing this video. I do appreciate it when you share. And I want to let you know that we're in the last days of the Just Juice Veggies promo. We've got, you buy 3, you get 1 more for free. You got that? You want the quote of the week again? Here it is. If you are persistent, you will get it. If you're consistent, you will keep it. Love you back, Vanessa. And I see so many of my coaching clients in there and a bunch of people from the Hot Melt Sprint. Thanks so much for showing up and for sharing this. And you guys are just incredible and the best. And don't forget, if you didn't get to the conference yesterday, all is not lost. You can buy it. It's all recorded. You will still see the chat. It'll just be like being there, honestly. And you get the swag bag, which is worth $140 worth of goodies. It's a screaming deal. Go to savingdinner.com/house and you'll get that. And yeah, and don't forget to cash in. You know, you've got, if you did attend the conference, you've got a discount. Use it because it's a nice discount. It's 10% off and free shipping, so you want to use that. And this thing too, ships free is what you do to get that. Love you back, Juanita. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care and share this video. Peace out. Peace be with you.